It's official, we have a Game of Thrones movie in development. Yeah, a Game of Thrones movie, a Game of Thrones in theaters. What will be the story? Will it be a post-Game of Thrones story? Will they remake the ending of Game of Thrones in this movie? Will it be a story before Game of Thrones? One of those stories that people really like to see, that they thought will be some show and it will be a movie, like Aegon's Conquest. Yeah, in this video we are going to bring you all about it, what it should be, and if you wanna know, stay here and let's go. Hello everyone who watching this beautiful channel, my name is João Victor and I'm back to talk about Game of Thrones universe. Yeah, because we have amazing news, some very exciting news. There's a lot of time since my last Game of Thrones video, my last House of the Dragon video. The news about this universe took some break, but in this week, in the beginning of November, there's a new important thing. Let's talk about it, but first don't forget to check the like in this video, it helps me a lot with the promotion. And also, if you like this content, don't forget to subscribe here. Also, thank you for your patience with my English. I'm trying to practice more and more, and there we go. Yeah, the second season of House of the Dragon, the first spin-off of Game of Thrones, ended around August. And since then, we don't have much news about this universe. We have some news about George R.R. Martin, some news about the continuation of the books, The Winds of Winter, but we still don't know when it will be released. We also have some news about the next spin-offs, which premieres next year, The Night of Seven Kingdoms. Soon we should have a new trailer, and I will make a video explaining everything if you like. But what happened now? Yeah, from the middle of nowhere, at a moment that very few people are talking about Game of Thrones universe, a well-known website emerged, which is the Hollywood Reporter. Yeah, this website dropped the bomb on the internet, a very crazy exclusive news, which is here. We have a Game of Thrones movie in early development at Warner Bros. Yeah, right now a lot of people are already posting some comments on this on the internet. People are theorizing how it is, what should be the story. Yeah, this article revealed a little bit more about this. We can see here, Warner Bros has been quietly developing at least one film set in George R.R. Martin's epic fantasy universe. The Hollywood Reporter has learned. They say in the article that multiple sources describe the project as a very early stage development with no filmmaker, cast, or writer yet attached. But the company is keen on exploring the idea of Westeros invading the cinemas. Yeah, the website itself, which as I said again, it's a website of a great credibility, gets a lot of hosts and exclusive things about Hollywood. They found out and got this official that there's something being prepared behind the scenes at Warner. For them to make an article like this, it's not just a rumor, it's because they got a confirmation that there is really something. The first initial points from Hollywood Reporter confirms this movie is real and they will do this to the cinemas. It doesn't seem to be through streaming, so something big, and for it to be in development, they must already have the people involved and such. They just don't officially announce who is behind it. It should probably be in writing, they should be writing and planning what they are going to do. But yeah, we have a Game of Thrones production for theaters, and then for us to get to the part of what should be, what about the story? First, let's finish the article. Yeah, here in the next part, they remembered that the showrunners of the original Game of Thrones show wanted to conclude the main show with 3 movies. George R.R. Martin himself, the writer himself, was also interested, but it ended up not happening. So for those who don't know, it's not the first time that a movie from Game of Thrones universe has been talked about. And so then we get to the point. We have an official information. There's a movie from Game of Thrones universe being planned, being produced, but everything in a very early stage of planning. That's what we can say. So then we come to what may be the theme of this movie. The story. What is the story? Because with this information, I've seen a lot of people talking about a lot of theories and possibilities, and some we can discard even. Others we can direct that it can be. The first one of those I saw the most people commenting on, is a movie that makes a reboot of Game of Thrones finale. Like a correct way, the way they could fix it, based on what George may have rewriting in the books. Sometimes a reboot that doesn't show Daenerys' death, a reboot that doesn't even show Daenerys in madness, they're attacking the city. A lot of people are thinking and dreaming about it. We know since 2019, when the end of Game of Thrones aired, most people have this desire. Most people want to see this reboot. But then there's that point. Does HBO want to touch in the end of Game of Thrones? They want to talk about it? The answer is no. It's clear that they don't have much interest. Like, I think it's past the time for HBO to be interested in showing that it wants to do do something to correct. So unless another news comes out later, I discard this first idea, this first theory here of a reboot from the end. So let's go to the next idea, the next theory about the story of this movie. The other idea will be a movie with a sequel to Game of Thrones. Yeah, the direct continuation considering what really happened without trying to fix anything, but with this continuation they can do some justice. Sometimes those theories that someone from fire magic could resurrect Daenerys, theories that I've already brought here on the channel, things that could make a lot of sense if the production wants. The situation that Daenerys' issue is so unique in the universe that they could decide whatever they wanted, but the dragon to take her to Old Valyria, to say that magically she's resistant to that place, the dragon too. The dragon uses its fire, that the magic of fire works much better in the Old Valyria to make her resurrect through the fire, since her story since the beginning of Game of Thrones is based on a miracle, is based on magic thing, which will connect with everything. Close the cycle. There's a lot of explanation around this that I have already brought in several theories here on the channel that keeps the same ending that was there in Game of Thrones, but that ends up correcting everything later. And here comes my opinion about this point. Will these make sense of what they may be planning? This one too, I don't rule out, I don't discard like the reboot one, but now I don't think that would be. You have to remember the same thing. HBO doesn't have much intention these days unless they change their minds. They have shown that they don't have much courage to make a sequel. You can see this by the simple fact that the Jon Snow show was confirmed in production. It was supposed to be the main continuation of Game of Thrones and it was cancelled now in 2024. So it shows that they don't have much interest, or they have some fear of doing something post Game of Thrones. Which brings us to the possibilities of a movie referring to something before Game of Thrones story. In fact, there are things very well rated for this. One of them is Robert's Rebellion. Yeah, many Game of Thrones fans have dreamed of seeing this on TV for a long time, and they also can bring it to the theaters. For those who don't know or don't remember, this event happens right before Game of Thrones story starts. Basically, it takes the name of the guy who's Robert Baratheon, the guy that we see in Game of Thrones. There he is older, but when this revolution happened, he was younger, full of vigor and fighting, along with Eddard Stark, the Ned Stark that we know from Game of Thrones. Also along with Jon Arryn, yeah, they instigated the revolution against the House Targaryen, which has always prevailed there in Westeros. It was a bloody event there in the story, many battles, so it will be a lot of action. A movie like this revolution resulted in the end of the Targaryen dynasty in the Seven Kingdoms, and so it could be a movie that with this story could show some points that many people would like to see. For example, it can show on screen for the first time some details about the Mad King, who is Daenerys' father. Would even be a perfect movie that could fit Daenerys' birth at the end, because in the story, she and Viserys, her brother, were the last Targaryen left, and the Baratheons weren't able to capture them. And yeah, there's a lot of details and familiar faces and important stories for Game of Thrones that this rebellion could show. I think it's the best idea that they could do in a movie, especially because it was the main event before the Game of Thrones story, and it's one of the events that fans would like to see most. Go right in the comments what you think about it. We also know that they would need to speed up a little of the story, but it could be a good thing. So there we go to the next point, the next theory about the story of this movie. The next point could be a movie about the Great Conquest, Aegon's Conquest. Yeah, recently we heard something about they're planning some spin-off about Aegon's Conquest. Right now there's a writer working for it. It's already been planned, it's going to happen, but it's still in the planning phase. Episodes and filming haven't been ordered or anything like that. So they might as well be doing this writing job and realize that it would fit a lot better in a movie. And if you don't know, the story happens before House of the Dragon, tells about the conquest of Aegon first, with his sisters, wives there, which even can show Balerion, the biggest dragon in the story. We will see the destruction of Harrenhal Castle, the throne being established there in King's Landing, and all of their things. And yeah, I think this will be a story that would sell tickets just like the story of Robert Baratheon. It will be a good story to tell in the theater. Can you imagine what an event like this would be like? And so, about this idea, go put in the comments what you think about it. We have another one here that could be considered. People are talking about it, but this one I am already a little in doubt, but I wanted to put here in the video. Let's talk about the 9 Voyages of Corlys Velaryon. Yeah, the guy we see in House of the Dragon. We know that HBO is planning some animated series about this story. They are preparing something, but we don't know so much. It's also a well-known story. It's a story that shows us a lot of how Corlys has managed to make more of his wealth, and it could also be something that they would be initially planning for animation and thought we can bring this to the theater. But at the same time, among the others I talked about, Robert's Rebellion, Aegon's Conquest. This idea here, I think it will be the less likely and the one that would sell the least. Not that people wouldn't want to watch, they would. It will be cool. But I believe that if Warner is planning something for the theater, it has to be something very crazy, something that will sell, something that will move the crowd again. My opinion is more like Robert's Rebellion and the movie about the Great Conquest. But yeah, it's confirmed, they are planning a movie and you can have other ideas. You can write in the comments what can be the best idea that Warner can plan there. Also, you liked this video, you like this information, don't forget to check the like in this video, it helps me a lot with the promotion. Don't forget to subscribe here if you like more contents about Game of Thrones universe and about TV shows and movies. I'll be back soon, thank you for watching and bye!